Hello everyone, and now welcome to another game, the third game in this series from the STC. We see a red Protoss player spawning over here on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Quantic's STC spawning as the blue Terran player on the top left. Terran versus Protoss cross spawns here on Entomb Valley. And so far we've seen STC lose some games and win some games, or lose a game and win a game. So this is the third game I will be casting so far, and STC, I'm trying to figure out what his particular strategy is at this point. It looks like he is not afraid to apply early pressure tactics such as cheese, or the dairy variety of tactics. And he's also not afraid of trying to experiment with a little bit more of those crazy unconventional builds. One of those builds will be showcased on Machinima Versus later on, but for now let's go ahead and focus on what we have here. So far, STC continuing to just train up more and more SCVs and mining away inside his main base on the top left. Meanwhile, on the bottom right, we still see a gateway finally being placed down, and the question will be what type of metagame these players are trying to play. STC looks like he is not going to be going for a refinery, which indicates he should be going for a 1 Rax expand. Now, a 1 Rax expand at this point in the game is going to be 1 Marine being trained, followed up with a supply depot and a command center here, and then perhaps another Marine and a bunker. Are we going to see early pressure come out from the Protoss? If the Protoss does train up a Zealot and a Stalker, he may actually be able to come in and deal a fair amount of damage, forcing a liftoff from STC. Probe now making its way over as well, will be able to scout and get all of the necessary information he needs, as we are going to see this SCV make its way down to the low ground. Is this probe perhaps going to do a little bit of blocking? That is the question, as the Marine is going to be popping out at just the right time, and oh, the Marine pops out just to see the probe come in and take a look. Alright, the Marine now getting in a little bit of stutter stepping here. Is the probe going to spot the natural expansion? Let's take a look. Was he able to spot it? Yes, he was. And now the Protoss player knows about that expansion, and what is he going to be doing about it? So far, though, we do not see an early Zealot, nor do we even see a Stalker being trained, as it is going to be foregone for a faster Nexus. So able to save up over 200 resources for a faster Nexus, and that will even up the economic race just a little bit. Now we see what the counter is going to be. Marines making a trek across. Are they actually going to try to do anything is the key question here. Perhaps a bunker right outside the sight range of that pylon, as we're now going to see Marines looking for perhaps proxy pylons all across the map. Command center now being placed down as well. Bunker is about to be completed. We are going into that double racks and double refinery timing that most Terran players do like to do in order to fend off any more engagements. And here we have it, 3 Marines hiding on the bottom side. Now, the reasoning behind hiding these 3 Marines is that normally a Protoss player likes to poke. What they normally do is they like to poke around with this one Stalker at the front door, and with this, these Marines, if they're able to actually regroup together, can actually deal a fair bit of damage. However, the Stalker is actually on the same side of the map still, and what is this? The Marines are actually going to get off some easy shots on a probe. 1 probe now down, a 2nd probe now down, and a 3rd probe. Oh, the sentry now trying to get away. How much damage is it going to be? We can now see Marines coming together, and the sentry getting in some damage. Oh, the Marines are chasing, as the probes are going to be able to get in so many easy shots here. A little bit of mismanagement, as we now see 3 worker kills. Will this Marine get off that last kill on that sentry? I do not believe so, and that was a bit of a mistake there. Let's take a look at the total workers loss. 4 workers killed for a total of 200 resources lost, and the harvester count is now 27 to 26. Wow, what a quick exchange there. The Stalker was away, and while the Stalkers were away, STC was able to run in and play around with 3 Marines. If he had actually bothered to focus fire just a little bit more onto some probes, more damage could have been dealt, and it could have been a very, very bad day coming in for the Protoss. As it is, Protoss is a little bit behind since we do have mules in play for the STC, as the income tab would clearly show a 300 resource discrepancy. Observer now flying around the map. Stalker trying to hold position here. 1 SCV on patrol on the bottom left. And perhaps we'll be able to set up something a little bit later, as we are going into a factory and now getting that level 1 weapons upgrade, all before the 7 minute 30 second mark in this game. In terms of the overall state of the game, we are fairly even. 51-51 harvester count, a discrepancy of 3. Army pretty much shows everything you need to see there. Army supply 15 versus 10, worker supply 43 versus 40, as we are still seeing more units still being trained here. A Marauder finally being added, but we are already going into a robotics bay, so the Protoss is going to have a very good defense. Stim is coming online, but without the combat shield, any of those Marines who try to utilize that stim pack will be essentially at 35 hit points. I believe 2 shots from a Colossus will take it down, and instead of 3, and with that, that is just going to be too much damage to overcome. Just too much critical hitting going on, as the Marines are now slowly macroing up very quickly. 75 over 78. We need to see when exactly the STC attacks. If the STC attacks in the next 90 seconds, he should be in a very, very good position. After that, the longer he waits to move out, the worse he will be in terms of positioning, as a factory now starting to make that slow trek across the map. All right, Medivacs now on their way. 2 Medivacs. Marines do have stim. Combat shield now being added, so perhaps waiting for combat shield. Extended thermal lance range also being researched, as a Colossus will be popping out. There is still plenty of chrono boost on these 2 Nexuses, enough for 3, perhaps even 4 if you chain them. And if you chain the chrono boost, the Colossus still comes out extremely fast. Here comes in the attack, an observer in the proper positioning there, and we now see a 17 supply discrepancy, which could be potentially huge. There is some force fields buying some time, as the Medivacs now doing a bit of a flyby. All right, sentries are off over here. Are the Medivacs going to be able to, yes, unload on the top side here? And here we go. They are going to be coming back down, and a beautiful defense by the Protoss. Beautiful map awareness, as extended thermal lance range about 40 seconds away. We are getting in more stalkers and a new Colossus on the way as well. As soon as a 3rd Colossus is added, that could be bad news, as the sentries, asleep at the wheel. There you go, unable to get that last force field. The Marines are now all split. However, the 4 force fields are going to be blocking this here, as the Colossi perhaps going to be going after those Marines. Those Marines pretty much have nowhere to run, as the Marauders and the Marines are now trying to engage again. More damage being dealt. Extended thermal lance range about to be completed. There you go, as the damage is being dealt, slicing and dicing through so many units. Marines now trying to come back in on the far side. Stalkers coming in. 3 Marines not going to be able to do very much, as the Colossi going to clean up here. The Medivacs, and the perfect defense from the Protoss, able to buy the necessary additional 30 seconds for the extended thermal lance range, an additional Colossus, and that is looking very good. So far, we only see 2 Colossi out. I thought there was a 3rd. Perhaps one of them did fall. A 3rd one now being trained up once again, as the Medivacs looking to do a drop over here. Are we perhaps going to see, yes, STC is going to spot this now, dropping and unloading everything. Going to shut down this expansion before it gets operational. And what is this? Why are you warping in a new pylon? Medivacs now picking up all those units, as the Zealots, Colossi, and Sentries are once again on the move. All right, Protoss sitting at 61 workers, SCVs sitting at 60 for the STC. And this is looking rather strong for the STC now, as the STC does have that macro advantage. He is establishing up his command center here. I had some reason thought that he had already built that orbital command and landed it, but that is not the case. STC now coming in with Vikings, and Vikings very effective at shooting down Colossi with their very, very strong range. It looks the factory could get taken down here in just a moment. Vikings now trying to get off some easy shots, but some Stalkers able to poke them back again. Marauders and Marines trying to do a strong flank. You see some force fields again. Are the Vikings going to be enough to deal with the Colossi? I don't believe so, as the Marauders and the Marines are caught in a very bad position. Another medevac gets taken down. The Marines now trying to run away. Are they going to hold their line against these Stalkers? No, they are not. One Viking being left to try to finish off the rest of these Colossi. The Stalkers, the Vikings, the Marines, they all need to retreat. STC losing a Viking due to just a bad rally point there, as another Viking falls. All right, things really going in favor for the Protoss now. It looks like STC is having a bit of an off day, as the units are in full retreat, trying to run back home. Harvester count 66 now compared to 64, and the longer this game goes now, the better it will be for the STC, but the STC has such a large and massive army that he may simply be able to move into this group of units. Now 16 SCVs being transferred over here to this base. Income shows a slight discrepancy, but then again, all of these SCVs were not mining for quite some time. So far, a whole bunch of production buildings being established down here. We are going into 2-2 upgrades, but we are already going into 3-3 upgrades for the Protoss. Proxy pylon off here. Marine is on patrol. Will spot this Zealot, getting off some easy shots on that one Zealot. The Zealot now charging in. That one Marine quickly taken down, as we are still seeing more and more add-ons being added here. So far, Templar Archives now coming in. STC without a Ghost Academy, finally building one now, perhaps sensing the timing and the urgency in order to build one, and we'll see what will happen. The Marauders now sitting at 150, 160 supply for the STC, 158 for the Protoss. Army compositions still show very much in favor of the Protoss player. Production tab showing 3-3 upgrades going up against 2-2, and any engagement that the STC goes into could be a very bad one, as the Zealots are now taken down. Coming back over here, another Zealot going to get taken down. STC trying to maintain map control by cleaning up some of the loose units all around the map. We can see that there are going to be 4 Colossi currently standing tall, but what are they going to be doing next? Alright, Zealot and a probe hiding off over here. A set of destructible rocks could get taken down. Perhaps STC wants to establish up a new base. Meanwhile, an observer now looking to come in. That is a lot of Zealots who are currently upgraded at 3-3. Ghosts now being added. I do not believe the Mobius reactor was even researched. No, it was not. So the starting energy of those Ghosts will still just be 50. Alright, a second starport now being added, perhaps in order to deal with the Colossi. But now, in addition to those Colossi, there are in fact Archons. 3-3 Archons and a probe, quickly making sure that there's nothing going on here. Alright, we could have a bit of an engagement. The Ghosts still don't have enough energy. That is going to be bad news for them, as the Colossi now quickly coming in. Alright, the Ghosts going after some of those units. Both sides damaging it up. So far, not so good for STC. STC, however, is backing away from those Colossi. And what is going to be happening next? A lot of units lost by the Protoss. He simply walked in. And now what's going to be happening next? Another pylon warps in another round of units, and now STC is on the receiving end of a beatdown, as the Zealots are going to be too much and the Archons are all there. Alright, STC losing this game here on Entombed Valley. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 3 in today's STC Korean Ladder matchup.